Good morning, Tartaria, Australia autodidactic buddy. Just
Hey,
got back from
hey,
Lismore.
we did. Yes, amazing. Thank you to everyone who came and made it an amazing event. Everyone seemed to really enjoy it, and yeah, we had a bit of a special sort of different but special first sort of first openings of the event was yeah.
Yeah, I mean, exciting. I mean, obviously having JCK at the event and as for family reasons, though she is coming to Melbourne, everyone, and tickets went on sale today. Getting
Melbourne.
windswept. Um, but to replace JC's consciousness, her level of integrity, and her energetic field, it was, we had to really think about it. And yeah, so I just happened to have one of my friends come and visit. She just happened to start telling me about her PhD she's been working on about listening to country, and it started just I asked a few more in-depth like questions about it, and it fucking blew my mind, man. Like, she didn't even get into it on the show probably, but it's some such awakening work, like really inspiring work. And we got her on, and Uncle Lewis Walker came and played his didgeridoo and told some amazing stories. And Cindy Roberts, a little legend. Yeah, so a friend of mine, she came down and visited, and as I was chewing on this, and she started telling me about her PhD that she was doing with Uncle Lewis Walker, our elder here in this region, and it was all about listening to country. And she's talked to me about it before, but this time around, I asked her to go a bit deeper so I could get a real perspective on it. And it was such awakening work, and I was just like, wow, this integrates so well into what we've been talking about with the moving towards the organic template. And I was like, okay, yep, done. Would you come and speak to our audience? And she said yes, and then Uncle Lewis agreed to come as well, which was just, it was really profound for our morning session. We've never done that before, and I just loved it, Campbell. It sent us in a bit of chaos, of course.
Yeah, it did put us behind schedule a little bit, but it was like it was unexpected, really. Like it wasn't really organised. And especially Uncle Lewis, who's the local original elder. We only met him a few days before somehow. It was very it was cool. I don't know how we ended up there though. And it kind of took the whole. It was given us a whole new narrative, really, hasn't it? Like
Mm,
this whole back to country. We've been
mm,
talking a lot about getting out on the land, growing your own food, and all that. And
mm-hmm.
obviously, we're both out here on the farm, but it gave us a real grounding. And when we went out and met Uncle Lewis, like it was like stepping into like another world or something,
Was.
wasn't it? It
Mm,
was like the energy there was just completely different. It was like you were just in like literally like this little world. It was
yeah.
amazing, and even the dogs, were just lying around. It was just so that was a real experience,
Yeah, I
and
think they were. Yeah, I think they were original Australian dogs. The
yep,
old dingo. Anyway, but yeah, I agree with you. It was like it was Uncle Lewis. He is very. He how do you even describe him? His energy is someone who has spent his lifetime listening to country, and he only learned English around the age of
when he
13.
was 13,
And
yep.
he knows all of the dialects of the bloodlines of the indigenous here, and you can tell, like, it's insane, the difference in energetic, the pauses and the silence and the time to have the conversation, how the distance between words, like, it's it was
It-
amazing.
yeah, and it just slows you down too. It was
Ah,
just a completely different way of communicating, but none of this reaction stuff. Everything was considered, wasn't
yeah.
it? All the words were considered and thoughtful. And yeah, so that was an amazing experience. And yeah, he came down and gave a blessing and played the didgeridoo for us. So that was
Oh,
just
talk about
yeah, like
frequency. Oh my gosh. And Campbell, like, we talk a lot about frequency on the show, but actually to be there with an elder who's just done an amazing like talk, and then to play the didge, and then everyone's hearts are open, and Rhea brought so many people to tears, and this big heart opening, and then the didgeridoo, and it was just like the climatic frequency of our day was just like And this is what we both really love about the lives, that you can never ever get here on a podcast and any other way. The coming together of our people and their open hearts and big beautiful minds, like it just sets the tone for a frequency experience that's basically an activator and so deeply healing, so deeply healing.
Yeah, it was great, and set the tone and sort of gave us a new sort of narrative to think about, which we'll get into talking about. But yeah, it was an awesome event, and we kind of thought it'd be half full, and we thought, oh yeah, But by the end of it, we were looking at it was people were telling us that the whole thing was full because we just said, pay at the door. We've got a few seats left. So yeah, we pretty much ended up with a full crowd again, which was amazing. We went across, had to the pub, and then we had a bit of a meet up the next day, and it was awesome just
Yeah.
connecting with all the people, on a real level. It was really, really good.
I mean, call out to the Northern Rivers. That was such an awesome event. And like meeting everyone afterwards at the pub was awesome. I really listened to so many incredible stories. And then the next day, actually, where we sort of never know what we're going to do, it's just sort of like a bonus beat because we like to acknowledge that how far you guys travel to come to these events and the effort it takes you to get there. So the Sunday could be a walk around, but this time round we sort of all met at a park. That's a pretty good amount there. And we all kind of sat in a kind of a circle, I guess. It's a pretty hot day, and just let everyone share what they had to share, not just to me and Campbell, but to the whole group. And fuck, it was awesome. Like I'm so into this stuff, man. It's just like this is the real human, the human result and the human testimony and integration of all of
Mm,
this YouTubing, and it just makes all of this YouTubing so worth it. It's so regenerating and so invigorating.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And we've been talking a lot about that. We done a potty on that yet, but we were talking about the L and the closed circuit, which is turning into AI. We all know it as now, and as opposed to the natural energies, and you can definitely feel it. There's a big difference between going through the circuit, the electrical circuit, and just being there in everyone's energy. It's just a
Yeah.
completely different experience.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And
yeah,
Dale, hello, Mr. Dale
Dale
Holmes.
Holmes,
Mr. Dale
yes,
Holmes, who is a fan of eggs just like myself. Um, we had this whole hilarious conversation about eggs and nicotine and basically how it like cures everything. Certainly the spike protein. Um, but Dale was fantastic. Like it was really, we didn't have enough time because our
I know.
schedule got a bit shuffled around. We lost an hour there, but Dale was on stage with us for the last session and answering some tough questions, and he really contributed some very cool information. I love the content about the compression of humanity down to this very tiny point where we are now. We're so potent and powerful because we've been so compressed down. And along with that compression is the synthetic world building. And it was a really amazing explanation. And, I really enjoyed it, Cam, but it was a really great progress of content through the day.
Yep, and got lots and lots of rave reviews for Mr. Holmes. So yeah, that was awesome. And of course, we have just announced that we're going to be going to old Melbourne town again.
Back to Melbourne. Melbourne's come around again. Time
Melbourne,
to
Melbourne.
back to the same beautiful Alex Theatre, who was so gracious and supportive of us when we started this, because that first live event we did in Melbourne, it was actually probably the first live event for basically the truth community coming out of all those lockdowns. And it was so intense and so many intense mandates with the police, as you guys will know. But that actual event was probably the first time that anyone in Melbourne and whoever flew in got to actually be together without being put in jail. You know what I mean? So it was really like, the vibe was super high and pumped. And of course, JCK will be definitely 100% joining us for the Melbourne gig. And we're super excited to get her back on stage with us. I've missed her, mate.
Yeah, it's all locked in. So we'll be there. We want to fill it again and get those vibes happening. So you'll find the link below. Go and check it out.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess what I would take most out of our out of that talk, Amber, was the trends. well, the integration, but the transition from using the word organic template into country. And last podcast, we did a whole Easter special on jumping out of one programming, Satanism, and right into a new programming, Christianity, or whatever. What word would you use?
Religions, or
Yeah.
just any organized religion that's not.
But it was like, you just looking at the way the world's unfolding as a kickback from the last couple of years. There's been a huge uptake of the Christian pathway. Now, when we say this, guys, we're not in any way judging or rejecting anything. We absolutely believe this is a choose your own universe relationship with your source, and you get to experience anything you want on this realm at any given time. Campbell and I, fully fans of that. But we just found it interesting to look at how similar those two opposing pathways actually are, as they overlay their stories and their symbolism and their history and their process. And we were looking, yeah, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say it's the organizations around them that are the problem. They're the control. It's not the information or the the relationships that are formed or any of that. It's just don't get ruled. don't let men tell you what to do.
Well,
listen to the creator.
And also, I guess it's again putting someone else external to you, that sort of savior voice, that sort of bring on the sort of that other entity, whether it's Jesus or Christ or Muhammad or whatever the word you want to put into it. But we were looking at, so if we stand there sort of more claiming our sovereignty and not presenting ourselves in either paradise and accepting both, like how do we just explain our connection to source and our connection to spirituality? And it wasn't until the weekend that I was like, fuck, man, that the answer to that question is country, is return to country. It's listening to country. It's learning to listen to the organic template, to the ancestors and the bloodlines that we find ourselves in country. That is, and so poignant for us here in Australia, huh? Like, Campbell, we started this podcast on the search of the Crystal City. And a year later, almost, we can say, okay, we finally integrated the word and country. So, I mean, it's like there's so much more for us to comprehend and understand and integrate. But to put it clearly, I think if you have deprogrammed yourself from history and have deprogrammed yourself from everything that is contained around that program, and then you're not jumping into any new religion or spiritual belief or guru, and you're standing with your feet firmly on the ground in nature in the middle, then your pathway is country.
Yeah. I mean, again, when we were talking about Uncle Lewis, and Rhea as well, just the way that they talk about country, they talk of it as it's alive and it's got memories and it's got messages for you and it talks to you and it's something that you can integrate with. And they talk about, rivers having souls and stones having souls and there being much more on the inside than the outside, and all these, they're really big concepts. Just it's a total different way of looking, at the land, right? And it sort of brings us back to the Crystal City. We've always sort of said it'll happen when it happens, and I think, what we need to do is listen, right, to country, because it'll be part of country, and you can call it creator as well if you want, because I mean the creator would have to be part of the creation, right? So get out in the creation, the country, if you really want to listen and connect up. But that they literally they talk of it as that's where they go to get answers. That's when they go for soul searching. That's where they go for healing. It's like find a good tree. Walk around, find a tree that calls you, and then sit with it and listen. And they talk about how big trees heal you over time and restructure your DNA and all this type of stuff, which is it's the kind of information that we've kind of been skirting around, with all this free energy and that, but it's a grounded, right? It's very grounded way to
literally, yeah.
Literally, yeah.
And so powerful, like so pure. It's so pure. There's like the words that are used. See, English has been fucked for us. Like it has turned everything into a friggin' noun. That's the
Yeah,
first thing it's done.
it's a
It's
trade
named
language.
everything, set in stone. It barely uses verbs, and the indigenous language is much more verb orientated. So it's in the flow, it's in the action of movement all the time. Life. It
Mm,
has life running through the linguistics, and it's
mm.
so pure. Like there's no, like it honestly depends on your personal relationships and your ability to listen and tune in being really literal, tune in to the organic template, to nature, to country, and thus be in relationship with the creator. And I fucking love it. It is the answer. How many people out there in the audience have been like, okay, well, guys, I've done it. I've taken all this in. I've deprogrammed myself. Nothing much surprises me anymore, except for Jay Dreamer's last clip on giant insects, which was fucking awesome. Go and watch it. And no, I'm pointing it out because I actually had a moment of deprogramming and I was like, wow, that's rare these days. And it was on the topic of shellfish. And oh my God, I'm never going to eat seafood again. It traumatized me. Yep. So, heads up, audience, if you want to have an hour of trauma to just go, oh my God, I can't believe we haven't thought about this before. Like, go check out Jay's new film clip. It's really good.
Yeah. Giant bugs or something. Yeah, it's just a recent one. Yeah, yeah, that was awesome. And it just shows you there's always more to learn, right? When this is a journey, it's a quest, right?
Oh,
We
yeah.
keep getting better questions, keep getting propelled forward, and ultimately that's again, that's you can ask, if you want real answers, ask country or ask a tree. But the big thing is you've got to listen for the answer, right? And that answer might take a while, because Ria's work was on the waters, right? And obviously we talk a lot about the waters, and she was basically going around and just sitting next to waterways, rivers, and
Yeah.
streams and things, and listening
Yeah.
to them
Mm-hmm.
and getting messages, getting
Mm.
songs. She was very big on. They were singing to her, literally. So she would get a song, and she sings these songs now.
The
It's actually part
songlines.
of her thesis, yeah, and it's all to do with song lines.
And then wanting to reemerge, the songlines wanting to reemerge and reemerge in a way that's translatable to today. So, and
Mm.
like, think about it, Campbell, like even sitting there and listening to Uncle Lewis's stories, I think he spoke for about maybe half an hour. Like I found myself observing myself listening, and actually how often I got distracted in my thoughts. Like I mentally became aware. I was really observational of my own thoughts, and I was thinking, oh no, we're going to run out of time. I know this is going to push the schedule. The visuals are all going to be. I was thinking Virgo stage production, but I was mentally noting how poorly my attention span could actually sit there and generally say that I genuinely was listening, and how different. So I'm self-admitting to the audience that I have far to go when it comes to learning the discipline of listening. I can sit there in front of a person and really hear them and really listen, but how often have I also got, chatter going on in the back of my head as I'm in that action? And I think it's really interesting, Cameron, because look at what AI, like Chat GBT versus listening to country. It's like one takes a lot of time, so much time. There's giant pauses, there's massive long silences, like so much time. And Chat GBT, fucking instant. Like type in any question, anything back instant, no time at all. No time at all.
No, no, exactly, and that's what we always say we're lacking, right? I just don't have the time. I'm just running out of time.
Yeah. Since
Where
technology.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't run out of time, but technology puts it in a box, right? So you think it's a finite thing that you can
Yes.
run out of. Where
Yes.
this way of thinking is no, time's eternal. I've got as much time as I need.
I don't even think they have a word for time in
No, well,
country.
Uncle Lewis was talking about some stories from the past, and he said that. He said we don't talk about dates or anything. We just say way back when it happened.
Yeah.
So they just say way back at that point in time, whenever it was, this happened. And the thing is that the story, right? The essence is so much more important than what date and the names
Yeah.
of the people involved, which obviously, we're studying history, and that's the Western way, right? It's all dates, names, what happened, give me the street address,
Yeah.
or else it's not true, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very different.
So different. I mean, it's a really great new opening up of the pathway around us, and we are definitely going to make a big connection moving forward with bringing country and listening to the Tartarian audience, because like that's the next level of the game. I said when Tartaria broke and we were all at the protest movement, I kept watching everyone over a few months be at the protest in Melbourne, but suddenly there's all these people just like looking up, and I was like, oh my God, Tartaria's broken. They've hit the new level of the game. They're here protesting, but they're looking at the buildings. They're on the new level of the game. But this is a new level of the game, like
Mm,
actually integrating in Australia the terminology of country. And then I would say starting to look at ancestors and understanding not only the Indigenous bloodline, but our own.
mm. Yeah, that's another big topic that came up was ancestry, which obviously ties very strongly into DNA and blood. and
Yeah,
um and how we and I said at the event, because I think it was Uncle Lewis who was talking about ancestry, and I just said, who knows their great great grandparents? And I don't think I saw one hand go up, and everyone just sort of went, oh. And we don't know our ancestry, we don't know who we came from, we don't know who these people were,
mm,
what they went through, and so we don't get any lessons and carry that energy forward. It's
mm.
like this cutoff. So that's something that we all, I think, should start looking into, and not ancestry.com, by the way.
Yeah,
But finding out who you are, where you came from, because all tribes, all tribal people, if we want to call them that, originals, they all talk about ancestry and bloodlines, and
yeah,
and they give reverence to these people. And again, here we are in the West, and we don't even think about it, we don't give it a second thought.
yeah.
So we just don't, we're not carrying those teachings forward, right? And, look around, right?
Exactly, exactly. And actually, on the Sunday, when we had the little circle in the park, or the big circle in the park, some amazing members of our audience stood up and actually talked quite extensively on the bloodline topic of the white bloodline topic. And I hope we can. There's a few we want to pull onto the show, so I hope we can get them to be hello out there. I know you're watching, really brave, and come and speak to us. Because it's a really fascinating
Mm,
topic and so poignant when you beam in from Australia. So poignant to Australia. I mean, once
mm,
again, this enigma of a country, no national identity, literally, beings deposited here from all over the realm, making up Australia. This is such a weird, it's a weird space here. We have a weird country. Yeah.
mm,
And the history of it is, you know, it's strange, Campbell. It's a
mm,
strange history. It's caught in a Mandela effect. It doesn't make any
mm.
sense. Our Indigenous timelines up along our Tartarian timelines in Australia, it's all messed up, man.
It
Like,
is.
we can't answer the question. We can't answer it. Although Stephen Nevenstrug did mention to us that when we first interviewed them, our second podcast ever, we asked them the question, and they did say there were stories, just to remind the audience, um, of convicts who weren't convicts, who were soldiers, actually were so freaked out by the Indigenous tribes who had so much advanced magic, and they knew they could never win the war that they had like embarked on, that they wanted to run away from their army, and they started crossing over some of the mountain ranges in Australia and rendezvous with Indigenous, who told them, what are you doing here? You should go into the middle where your white
Yep.
brothers are in their city.
The story doesn't make sense. Like
No,
I
it
said,
doesn't, because you've got to remember, do you know why Blaxland Wentworth and Lawson went across there with the original people? They went there for one reason, and it wasn't to find new land. Do you know why they did this? Because all the convicts were doing runners, weren't they?
Yeah, they're all taking off because they heard a rumor.
By the original people that you people have been here before. There are major cities, there are major civilizations in the middle. And therefore, what was happening was, because there's no jail here, all the Irish were doing runners straight away. They just said, well, bugger it, we're going off there. And a lot of them died trying to find it. So what happened was Blackflint, Wentworth and Lawson went across the Blue Mountains, not to find farmland. That wasn't the main reason. It was to convince the convicts there was nowhere to run. Now, that is the truth. That is the main reason they went. And when they got there, they said, there's flat plains where you can run sheep. They said, oh, shit, we'll go across now. But remember, Blackflint, Wentworth and Lawson couldn't get across the Blue Mountains. They were taken across by blackfellas.
Well, there was a rumour of an inland sea too.
The inland sea, but remember, they were running to buildings.
Yeah.
Now, this is the beauty of this. Original people, and myself included, because I'm original, we are shocking with time. We tend to talk about the past as a future, and therefore they're telling this mob, what are you hanging around here for? You got your spot in the middle, go back there. And that, if you check the records, you will find that was said commonly. They were losing so many of the Irish, particularly, because the Irish hate the English anyway, right? They're all being chucked down here. Well, they were just doing runners straight away. A lot of them joined up. What was that guy that joined up with Pemulwuy? Was his name's big? It was a big giant guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, forget his name now. He led an insurrection there. They were told, you've got an inland city. What are you doing here? Why are you being treated like that? Leave these people, because they hated them for whipping them. Go up there where you belong with your mob. So that's where they were going. And that was done to stop the exodus of free labour and slave labour. Luckily, they've got...
That's what he told us, yeah. Like, that's really poignant. And that's the only time I've heard of there being some feasible co-relationship between our cities and all these structures here in Australia and our Indigenous timeline.
Yeah, there's definitely something, going on with the timeline that we're still hoping to work out. And it's interesting, like this podcast is, how old is it? It's almost 2 years, I think.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, probably not, maybe. But, it's been a journey, right? We keep sort of getting newer insights that are leading us down this path. And now, again, we've ended up listening to country. So country is the one that would have seen all of this, right? All that happened. So I guess really that might be where the answers to these questions lie, right?
Exactly.
In the person, the observer that's been there the whole time.
That's right. Not on the internet, not on the artificial web, not on the censored and programmed and inaccurate information on the internet, but actually between you and the ground, the soles of your feet, that very old gum tree, that beautiful billabong, the landscapes, the country. Yeah, and we're going on about it because it's really fucking cool, guys, and it's just so like a massive new pathway. And I just like it's entwined, that relationship since the beginning, when everyone was so cool and supported Cindy when she needed a car to get to Canberra. Like we started supporting our Indigenous elders, and our community was so amazing in raising funds last year that, fuck, man, there is an organic relationship here on this topic for sure.
Yes, and Cindy got up and spoke as well. She was there.
Had people in tears.
Literally by, she literally happened to be passing through that region for like a 4-hour window.
Yeah.
It had like a couple of hours to come in the morning, and she got up and had a talk, and had people in tears. She's still that warrior. So we were hoping to get on today. Not sure if she'll make it, but if not, we'll definitely get her on for a chat soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's just such a warrior. She's just such, she's so inspiring, right? She's been through all these trials and tribulations, and she just keeps going. And the reason she does is, and you hear her every time you hear her talk, she'll say it. She's just listening to Creator. She's following Creator Spirit and being led, and she just trusts 100% in it, and she listens, and off she goes to change the world. So, we can learn just so much just from that, just from the way that she views what, the world, and she lives her life. It's with purpose, right?
Yeah.
Which is really what most of us are looking for, I think.
Well, definitely now. 100%. Like we're all in the same place. We're on the same space, you know. Now what universe? Now what universe? Like really, like what's going to come tomorrow? How is this pathway going to keep evolving? You know, have I learned everything I need to learn? Obviously not, but what's next? You know, like so. I mean, it's a really, yeah, it's a really satisfying answer for me at this time, and much to learn. And you know, fucking intimidating, man. Like this is like languages we do not know. These are cultures we don't know. You
Mm.
know, like we don't know how to access it or to learn it or to understand it. You know, these are sacred teachings. Like you actually have to make a bit of an effort. We actually spoke to Uncle Lewis about that, and he said, and I will pass this on now, that if you want to meet your local elder, if you want to meet your local wisdom council, then seek out the Indigenous Council or the Council of any. There will be some sort of formalized group in your area, and all you have to do is call them and say, "I'm seeking permission to go and meet our elder and to speak to our elder," and they will guide you from there. So, because I've never known how to like access, you know, these amazing.
I never knew we could. I didn't. And even sitting there, you know, I was worried about protocol and oh gosh, what should
Yeah.
I do? Is there like things? But you know, he was totally cool, and we had a bit of a laugh with him and everything. But yeah, this is the thing. Like, if you want to connect to your local area, connect with someone who's connected to it already, right? And learn from them and understand the story. Because I mean, we only spent, you know, I don't know, what was it, 2 or 3 hours there. Um, but it was just so impacting, you know, and we
Mm,
came out with a total different view.
yeah.
And in our last podcast, we were talking about nature and, you know, how basically not to judge it, right? There's good and
Yeah.
bad, things that hurt you and heal you and all this kind of stuff. And then yeah, we end up sitting in front of an elder who's basically saying this, but just in a much more eloquent way. And he's just saying, listen, just listen. You know, if you listen to the country, it'll tell you don't eat that plant; it's poisonous. You know, don't go
Yeah.
there. This is a good spot. This is a bad spot, and it's all about, you know, getting grounded, like we talk. And these are very interesting words, aren't they? You know, electricity needs to be grounded to bring it into the
Yes.
earth, right? So to ground yourself, you take off your shoes and you put your soul
Yeah.
on the ground, and that's how you ground yourself, right? And
Yeah.
of course, the heel. If you want to heal your soul, you put your foot on the ground, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so yeah, I mean, everyone
On
who
country.
on country, everyone who wants to have the experience of actually getting to know their local elder, because there is a custodian everywhere you are here in Australia, then it is protocol to find the Indigenous community group or board in that area and just saying, I'm seeking permission to
Mm.
speak to my local elder. And then you have to call and say, I'm seeking permission to come and see you. And then, you know, see what happens after that. But you have to make that first step.
Indeed. And of course, wherever you are around the world watching this, you know, try and connect with the originals, you know, the elders, that are still, you know, the knowledge holders is
Yeah,
what it
man.
is, right? The people who can really tell you what's going on, because this is, you know, we've clearly gone off course, right? And these people haven't changed their way of life, and it's suddenly coming back, and it's almost, it's what we're all sort of looking for. So I think that there's a lot of wisdom there that's going to come out, and ultimately this is, you know, us becoming one, right? Us getting back to law of the land, which we talk
Mm.
about. All these types of things are so connected with the original peoples of all lands. So yeah, definitely, if you're out there and you feel the need, yeah, get in just start looking it out, put it out as an intention, look for, you know, local Indigenous councils and things,
Mm.
and yeah, see
Mm.
where you go.
Wait, just getting my water. Just got to go down.
Okay, all right. She's currently
I'm
standing
going
out in the bush.
down. I am. I'm balancing on a ladder.
Right.
Mm,
We're on opposite sides of the farm
mm.
so that we can't hear each other.
So another thing we spoke about was obviously we've spoken a lot about the electrical grid and what that looks like. And we did do a session on, although we didn't get to finish it, but a session on circuit board earth. And I don't know if we've spoken about it on the podcast yet, or if we have, I don't remember. But basically, in summary, because this seems to be a catch-up chat, Campbell. Um,
Yes.
We have been looking at the idea that what is this AI inorganic template is actually moving on the electrical wires, which was basically an open grid, which is what the buildings of Tartaria sort of represent, a big worldwide free ether grid integrating the living waters, integrating the cymatics, integrating the giant bells and all the objects that created a frequency band, a sound, the organs, all those delicious tones that we never get to hear anymore, that have been eradicated from our existence. And really the only way you can hear it is on the internet, which is thus like completely oxymoronic. And yeah, so we were looking at this circuit board, open circuit board Earth, and how that has been systematically dismantled and destroyed and returned as a closed electrical circuit.
Indeed, yeah, and this is the thing, the closed L circuit, as we'll call it. You know, everything that goes through it is digitized. You know, even we used to be on analog, you know, and that was a completely different frequency, and of course the 440, 432. So, you know, how to escape that, right? Like if that's the trap, and I think most of us are starting to realize that it is the trap, you know, and of course that it's very, very gilded, right? Everything looks so nice, and it's going to make life so much better and so much easier. But look where we are. Look, exactly. That's what we all thought. We all jumped in. This is going to be amazing, and then, you know, they start banning us. They start censoring us. They start asking us for a new password every second day.
In between three devices. Yeah, he's
I'm locked
blocked
out
out.
of Google at the moment. I've had to upload a new, what are they called? Search engine, because Google just won't let me in. So it locks me out of my own account. But
yeah,
it's full of spam and all this kind of crap, you know.
It's like the motherfucker dance, you know, where you're like one device goes out. Like I recently had to replace my phone, and then that needs all the passwords that are stored on the other devices, and then that boots you out of one device, and then all the devices close down, all the programs, and then if you don't remember the password, you got to find a new password, then you got to apply that. It's just a mess. It takes friggin' ages, and I hate it. So, I mean, basically, we can get answers from technology instantly, but actually dealing with technology is the biggest bloody time waster of the entire universe.
Yes.
It's awful.
And it's not good for your vibration, right? It's stressful.
No, look at me.
It's
look at
annoying.
me.
It's lost its wonder, you know. It's lost its sheen, right? So yeah, so the way to escape that is obviously to get back to the macro grid, right? The big grid, the natural energy grid, which is what all of these old buildings were built on. They were built on these natural energy vortexes, or where the lines crossed. And so that's what we need to do. And you know, how do you think that they found them? How do you think they found all these lines, right? Probably by listening, you know, maybe by observing animals and that, but definitely by being quiet and watching and getting the message from the creation and taking that forward. And now everything has been completely inverted and boxed in. You know, even the architecture, right? It's now brutalism because it's so brutal to look at. It's brutal for your frequency.
You know, when you're working with the indigenous process and their language and their action steps, like they are, as they are completely in reverence and relationship with creator and country, they're literally oh, you're frozen, Campbell. Woo, is he out? Oh, there he is. I was just like, I'll just see if he's they literally are integrated with this organic template, but like for them, they are custodians as well, meaning every action they take, their deep reverence and relationship is in an action. It's in a verb, it's in a doingness. So if they are charged with the custodianship of a piece of land or a river or the trees on that piece of land or the animals, then it's their duty to protect and take care of those living beings' needs. Whereas when you're on AI, doing the motherfucker dance, when you're an AI, what are you caring for? Nothing. All you're thinking about is how cramped your foot is, how you'd really like to go get a piece of toast, how you just like, you know, you've been uncomfortable in your chair, like you're boxed into these four walls. Like, really? You're not thinking about being the custodian of anything. You're not ever taking care of anything living when you are sitting in front of a damn computer.
Mm,
And like, it's a really big difference in frequency.
mm. Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, like, if you got like an educated Westerner who'd been to university and, who knew all about trees and you went out and they could tell you, oh, that tree's called this and that tree's called this and that tree's called this. You might think that person's, oh, they're so intelligent and so smart. But if you get them next to an original, their questions would be, oh, well, what's the message from that tree? What's that tree telling you? And just in that question, like there's so much more information encoded in that question, right? And that they would see these people go, well, it's a blue gum and that's a blah blah. They would see them as silly because they're not getting the message. And that's right, you're not getting the message. It's a saying, right?
And they literally don't even know the names. They don't even know the real names for
Real
anything.
names.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
all westernized. And that's why it literally is a trade language because all they care about is, oh, that's a tree which is made of wood. It's 20, so it equals this many dollars. That's all. It's really all that everything's based on.
Yes, but we can't like, hello, you and I are so ignorant to this thing as well. Like,
Oh,
I know nothing. I
oh.
know no names. We've got a big learning
Yeah.
curve ahead of us, don't you reckon?
Oh man. Oh, geez. I'm literally this concept when did it come in? Like, we're probably when we met Uncle Louis, I guess, like 10 days ago. So yeah, no, we're definitely go and talk to the original elders. We're not the ones, but we're willing to learn and we can see it as a pathway and we can see it as a way out. And
Definitely.
we're not saying, sell all your possessions and never, use electricity or anything like this, but we need to start transitioning back into a life that's much more better for us, much more in harmony.
Yeah,
And,
well,
we've got all the answers, but we're getting them. If we haven't, we're getting them really, really quickly.
mhm.
Because we just talked about electroculture recently and orgonite and all these things. These are all connected to the earth grid and things that we can use to enhance natural energies on a small scale. So we can start. You can start today.
And well, it's getting more and more poignant because obviously, combining this concept of the voices in the head and the vaccine and what was in it and how it connects to basically a live conduit circuit in your being and how that then activates through Wi-Fi. And it's not like Wi-Fi is probably the wrong word. It's just the frequency that Wi-Fi emanates. It's like the frequent, it's tuned in and turned on by certain frequency bands. And then it does stuff, like this living transhumanism within oneself that's sort of going on right now for millions and millions of people on this realm. And what's that going to look like? Like Cambell and I were talking about it, and we were like, we've always thought that would cause people to die, like it would kill them. That's been and we've seen a lot of that obviously, but what if it actually turns them into killers? Because we had a look, unfortunately we heard a tragedy of a story coming out of the Steiner School in Melbourne. So, and it basically was some young boys, sort of 14 I think, actually ended up stabbing their mother. And this is out of the Steiner School. And we were there when the Steiner School actually collapsed in front of our eyes. Our little rat bag was there, and sort of we watched them fall to the mandates and the masks and the jabs, and all the teachers who were for the original philosophy left, got fired, and then obviously everyone else had to have the what. And when that happened, like, you gotta wonder, because this got sent down through all the kids and all the parents. They were getting sent home every week with a huge set of tests. And I don't know, Cambell, we had a look at sort of statistics when we found out about this tragedy. It was about a week ago. And stabbings have increased in Melbourne by 50% since the beginning of the year. And the stabbings are being committed by younger and younger and younger people, like right down to the age of 15. And that makes sense if you're going to connect the to the the black goo to the Wi-Fi to the voices in the head and the part of the population that's on their Wi-Fi the most, you know?
Yeah. That's the generation that have grown up with, the tech in their hand, right? The L
Yeah.
in their hand.
Yeah.
And so they were getting programmed from them, and then exactly you just program them, which is, a lot of that's MK Ultra,
Yeah.
confusing them, getting them in a state where they're susceptible. Then you get all this stuff in them, and there's more information on that we've learned about the gut, which we might get into later. But yeah, all these things, and then it looks like the last stage was these nanoparticles,
Yeah.
right? Because we've all seen the films and heard about them, and now we're getting 50% increase in stabbings, and this is that's in I think that was Melbourne, but across the realm I think it's over 40%.
Yeah.
So, and this is just recent,
Yeah.
right? So it's time. This is, as we know, this is serious. It's we've got to make big decisions here on where we're going to go and which way we're going to go forward, because you can't really have one foot in and in each camp. It doesn't really work that way. But you can start to walk out, right, knowing that you're going to be out. Like I said, no need to throw everything in trash and run off and end up in a position where you're sitting in the mud, because we were all born into this, but it's our job to exit it.
Well, I mean, yeah, we definitely spoke to the audience on the weekend around the idea that, like, just for the nature that most of our beautiful community are essentially old indigos, they're the indigos starseed, and they've been on this journey for many decades. Like, it's there's still some people who've just come into the information, but the vast majority have been on this tangent for many decades, and just naturally, just by learning the truth and breaking through the programming, we have all naturally made changes in our life that have added to a certain frequency outcome. Like, for example, how many years ago did everyone here chuck away their TV? I mean, I turn on that TV occasionally when I'm in a hotel room, and I get blown away, Campbell, with the stupidity, the level of intellect that runs through the television. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even imagine anyone watching it today. But, so many people do. Getting rid of, becoming conscious of fluoride, and then not drinking town water anymore, and not using fluorinated toothpaste. Like, we all kind of did this. Just moving towards the importance of organic, good, clean food, or growing gardens. Like, we've all done these systematic, not buying houses under 5G towers. We've all made very, these are basic choices that have built up over time to add to a frequency band that you all are, for you then to align to this information and consciousness to be able to deprogram yourself to this level. Like, if you're here, you've done that job, and you've done it either accidentally or consciously, but it's worked, right? We stopped listening to, terrible music, and just like became aware of what information we were putting into our brains and the frequencies, and we got rid of all the bright lights, and moved down to the mood lighting, man. We moved down to the salt lamps and the campfire, baby. We made we kept drinking the wine, but we made it organic. And we kept smoking the weed, but we made it organic, But that's true. We've all made these things without it being a big, massive event. And now here we are, 20 years on.
I mean, it's a good point, because everyone keeps saying, what's so different? Why can't people see this? And that's the answer. They just haven't been through the learning that we have, because, the big thing obviously was the, Mr. Bill's prick. And, we literally couldn't even understand why people would consider that.
Yeah.
Because we'd passed that, 10 years ago, we were, we knew all about the V and how bad it was.
That's
and
right.
How it was affecting people. We all heard about India and what was going on, and we'd been through that to the point where I'm just, no way, right? There's just no way.
I can't remember the last time I went to a doctor willingly, Campbell. I mean, like I said, it'd be something really bad, really, 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 really bad for me to even think to go to a doctor. Like,
apart from, emergencies.
Yeah, like a missing arm, a snake bite.
Driving your car into a tree or something.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been to a doctor for ever. I mean, and that's my whole life as well. I've never gone to doctors, and these are just things that, yeah, like Kelly said, these all add to our frequency.
Oh, I know one. We stopped eating McDonald's. All right. Admittedly, a lot of us liked the taste of McDonald's. Come on, Campbell. You don't even meet me, but honestly, that quarter pounder was pretty good. And the Mac Feast or the Big Mac, like, whatever. We grew up in the 70s having a kids meal on Friday night was like a treat. That it was introduced to me when I was a child. It was like a thing. It was like
Yeah,
something
man,
that
just getting little toys and stuff.
toys and cookies and apple
Yeah,
pies,
cookies,
man.
yeah, man.
But then 2 decades ago, it was almost 2 decades ago, we started to realize that McDonald's was full of babies and
Yeah,
teeth and human remains, and actually legally is actually accounted for in the ingredients.
4% is allowed to be
4%.
human or remains, I think they put it, but
What
DNA.
the fuck?
4%
4%
of your burger, like of each patty, that means, right?
is allowed to have human remains. I'm sorry, dudes, but this is actually real. And there it is. That's actually as gross as Jay's discussion on seafood.
Yeah.
So, and the giant cockroaches that we've been eating.
You'll be eating fruit forever after.
I mean, food's pretty gross. This food
come
is
on.
such a bullshit thing in
Food.
this realm. Come on, Campbell. It's bullshit. Food on this realm.
I've said it before, we think we're so advanced, but we still don't know what to eat.
No.
Like,
Nah. Is it better to have almond milk, Campbell, organic almond milk, or organic raw milk from a cow? Is it better to have gluten-free bread or organic sourdough? Is it, better to eat meat or to be a vegetarian? Like, and if it is better to eat meat, how fucking cruel that we have to deal with these beautiful, emotional, sentient beings with their big hearts and personalities and treat them like food. And it's just like, oh my God. Can I eat coconut oil? Which can I eat that with an avocado or too many avocados or too less bananas? It's really fucking confusing. I'm over it.
it's very confusing, and even if you try and go the healthy way, there's a million people out there. Oh no, you can't eat that, or you have to eat this, or you'll bloody get this and this and this. And I mean, my take on it all is everything's energy, so just transmute it, right? F them all. That's intention, right? It's what we think. It's what we make it, and this is proven through Dr. Emoto's work, all this kind of stuff. But I digress. But this is the thing, like we are now in a place where we thought we knew where we were, right? Even going back to the shape of it, like everything. And as we get down, and it's obviously been accelerated in the last couple of years, but everything is a lie. It's all a deception. It's all a sheep in a wolf in sheep's clothing, right?
Yep.
So this is where the ultimate decision is coming to. Like, if it's the whole system, what do we do? What's the solution? Seems like we maybe need to exit the system, right? But again, we need to do this properly, because we've got all the answers, but we need to bring them out. We don't want to be, going out to a bush block with a brass hoe and a few seeds and hoping we can live off it, because it's probably not practical, but we can move forward. We can learn this stuff. We can put it into practice. We can create communities and all these things and keep deprogramming ourselves. And it'll hit the point where we'll be like, what? What are you on the computer all day?
We did it.
I can't believe it. No.
Yeah, I mean, I think one solid action, this got brought up at the circle, which I thought fucking smart. And also my partner's brought it up, and also another friend, all sort of in a 24-hour period, is parasite cleanse. I think I think the cleaning the blood is something that we could all just do naturally over the next couple of months. For sure, 1,000%, we all have parasites. And they are just everywhere in everything. And actually, like, a friend came over the other day and we've ordered this parasite cleanse, which all it really is turpentine and some sugar. So turpentine on some sugar, and apparently tastes like a eucalyptus lolly, and then castor oil, and you do that for a week, and then you have a colon cleanse. And there's actually really cool ones now where they have cameras attached. They can actually see the parasites are coming out of you and tell you all about it, which I think is cool. And yeah.
Cool.
So Cameron, I can document our great parasite cleanse if you like to hear what crazy shit comes. It'd be interesting because Campbell's veggie, I'm not, and we're both pretty rough around the
Spoiler.
edges, but he's got tuning forks. I don't have tuning forks. So it'd be interesting to see the difference in the parasites that come out of
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
I mean,
Parasites control us. We know, like we all know that they can, parasites can make you crave sugar. They can make you, crave drugs and things. But there's parasites that go in ants, and they make the ant crawl up, go into a certain area, and they crawl up the grass, and that's so that the cows come along and eat them, so that the parasite in the ant can then reproduce in the cow's gut.
it's
I mean,
such a horror movie.
it's weird, but this is the power of parasites. So this, to me, internal parasites are the same as external ones. They can still be voices and things and make you do things that
Yeah.
you would normally do. So
Yep.
this is the thing. And what we found out is there's intracellular
Yes.
parasites in the plasma, which
Take it away, Campbell.
people
Tell
look
us all
at.
about it.
So yeah, the plasma in that all our blood cells and that float in is full of parasites, but it's not looked at by the medical industry. They're always looking inside cells and things. But when you think of the plasma as the river, right?
Yeah.
That's the waters, and they're polluted, they're infected, and until you clean that, then obviously, right? If you've got parasites in the plasma and you clean the cells, what do you think is going to happen? They're just going to migrate back into the cells. And this is Western medicine, right? They just fix the symptoms. They don't like to look at the cause. So yeah, that's a big thing we're going to be doing. We're going to have a parasite cleanse, and then we're going to check our DNA and our blood
Yeah. So
and
I
start to
mean,
sort of learn who we are. And this is all through errant professionals, shall we say?
so I mean, like imagine all the parasites that are in like town water. Like imagine all the parasites that sit in that town water tanks. And then imagine all the times you've been out to restaurants and just had their water. And imagine how many parasites are in our air and fall into our rainwater tanks. And
Yeah, I
I could
mean
have
that's
just
a
drunk
good.
like a million parasites just then. Like right then, like live.
We just trust. So we're just so trusting, aren't we? We don't know what's in any of these bottled drinks. We don't know what's happening in the kitchens of the restaurants that are making our food. We just really don't know.
Nah.
And we've all
Nah.
seen the horror clips, right? When they go into a restaurant of a nice, or the kitchen of a nice looking
Yeah,
restaurant,
Gordon
and they find
Ramsay,
bloody
mate.
all this crap, and there's
Kitchen
rats, and there's
nightmares.
poo everywhere, and
Kitchen
so
nightmares.
we've got them. We've got them.
And
We need to cast out the demons, man.
that's right. So so basically there's parasites everywhere and all the way through us. Of course, some of the symptoms of having parasites are like brain fog, memory loss, and just general like haziness, getting shit done.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm in the middle of something and I'm like, I need to go get that hammer or whatever. And then I walk towards it, and halfway there, I just suddenly go, where am I? What am I doing? Why am I walking
What
in
am I
this
doing?
direction? What was my point or plan? And really
I've
have to
never
like,
done that ever.
I do it all. And then I'm like, okay, I don't know why I'm here yet, but it'll come to me. While I'm here, I'll do this thing that's in front of me.
Yeah,
And
just
then
need to tune in.
yeah,
Fine. And what do you do every time you turn around, take a few steps, and what happens?
yeah,
Okay, back we go.
yeah. No, I end up doing 5 things before I've remembered why
Okay.
I was walking in that direction.
And you walk past and see a shovel and go,
Yeah,
oh yeah, I was doing
that's
that.
right.
That's right. Yeah.
And also, like I right now have an issue with joint pain. So I had Ross River fever, hello, Parasite, about in 2016, and it was just when Bill Gates, see, this is, this sort of bullshit makes me get grumpy, so I shouldn't talk about very long, but basically he made this big announcement. He was releasing 50 billion massive GMO mosquitoes into far north Queensland. And then everyone in my region went down with Ross River fever within like 2 months or something. And fuck knows what was in that. I wouldn't even, it wasn't diagnosed as Ross River fever, but it affected the joints, and it's trippy and scary. And I've noticed in the last 6 months my joints are hurting like that happened. And what I did last time was I gulped down 2 bottles of colloidal silver, and then water fasted. and that's sort of like balanced. So I think I have to do that again. Big water fast, Campbell. How do I
Wow.
do it? How do I do it on this farm with so many things around me and animals
Just
and
just
children and
just get the bell tent and hike up to the high billabong, set up.
so many snakes, Campbell, and goannas.
Just cast them out, Kelly. Cast them out.
Because you get really stinky when you fast. I call it the scorpion smell, dead scorpion smell.
Ah, dead scorpion, or shall we call that a lobster? Sorry.
Oh, shush now. Seafood's ruined forever. Forever, I tell you. So anyway, so there's like parasites and everything. So of course, now if we're looking at this parasitic energy, that's triggered by the electrical grid, and we could have picked up anything, not just organic parasites, but inorganic parasites. I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of that's rained down on us in the heavy metals, inorganic parasites. I mean, you've all seen the clips about Morgellons disease in the chicken McNuggets with those creepy, weird blue threads. So,
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what food that was put into, what we would have consumed, how we consumed it, or the Teflon that we used to like lick and love from the secondhand op shop, or the, or the cooking materials that had that scratchy
Pants.
Teflon. Fuck that, man. Like, no, like that is the building blocks of cancer. It's friggin'
Yeah, yeah.
Teflon.
Yeah, Rockefeller, a statement. He said, I will see everyone covered in plastic.
Mm.
I mean, and look, I mean, I've even got a jacket, and I know it's just, but I always, it's cool. I like it, but I know it's just so plastic,
Yeah, we've got
right?
to get
And
rid of
that's the
that.
thing with clothes, right? Clothes, I mean, you go into the stores, and it's just all these unnatural bright colors, and it's all plastic.
Yeah.
And we're covering ourselves in it. Then we're drinking things out of plastic bottles. Then we're sleeping under plastic sheets, and we've got plastic in the walls of our home, and we've got
Oh,
plastic in our
get me
hands.
out, man. Stop it. Stop it. It's true. There's fucking
It's a
plastic
plastic world,
everywhere.
man. Yeah,
And
man.
Teflon was innovated by Scotch tape, 3mm Scotch tape, and then brought to the world by DuPont, and basically put in everything to this day systematically. And it is the building blocks of all cancers on this
And
planet is
and
Teflon.
again, how did they promote that, right? As the wonder thing, right?
Yeah.
The non-stick,
Yeah,
it'll change
man.
everything in your world. Well,
Convenience.
for a lot of people, but not
Yeah.
necessarily. But yeah, this is how everything is put to us at the phones, right? We've probably all seen that meme where it's got the guy and he's got his big ghetto blaster and he's got his big camera and record player and just all this tech around him. So everything in this picture is now in your pocket.
That's right.
It's true,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
It's all, yeah, it's all. So
It's-
we've just
So
got
the,
to. Is this good for us or not? Is what we need to really start listening, asking and listening for the answer for.
Well, I mean, we know that there's an increase in the AI agenda. We know that's happening. We know that's going to be pushed. We know the vax was a massive part of that. We know the whole transhumanism and transgenderism is a massive push with that. We know all of that. We know that the food is super shite. We know all of that. So now I think it would be smart, and I'm just going to put it to the audience today, that you join us over the next couple of months and parasite cleanse yourself. Come on the parasite tour with us, and let's cleanse all of these worms and bugs and metals out of our system together any way you want. Just Google it. Apparently there's some fantastic Telegram pages full of people posting all the parasites that have come out of them, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm kind of like fascinatingly grossed out and I just can't look away. It's like when I first saw the Don Tolman farmers, what was that book that encyclopedia kept?
What is it? The pharmaceutical. It's
It's
got three
his
letters.
it's his whole like story about everything and nature
Yeah.
and treating yourself and healing yourself. And he had a whole section on parasites. And I used to sit there and go, oh mate, something about this is grossly fascinating. Grossly fascinating. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And he's written a book as well, literally, where he talks about, when Jesus was talking about casting out demons, he relates them to internal parasites, right? And cleaning your body and cleansing out that. So,
And
it's spiritual too, guys.
and what was Dale saying to us about the gut bacteria? Because that was interesting as well.
So the gut biome is being damaged by Mr. Bill's prick, and it's basically severing the connection up through the blood-brain barrier into certain parts of the brain, and it's causing like autism and foggy mind and Alzheimer's, all these different things. And by
So
the looks of
it's
it,
severing,
psychosis.
it's
Yeah, it's severing
severing.
different connection points, which we theorized may be getting filled back in by these nanoparticles, self-assembling nanoparticles,
Mm.
which would essentially start turning people into cyborgs.
Yes, okay. And you know, I've had some amazing friends tell me their amazing stories because we do the National Region Ag Day, which is all about removing poison from the food chain. And they've told me amazing stories how the vaccines and not COVID, but before then,
Yeah.
actually triggered perfectly beautiful children, toddler children to fall into deep um traumatic autism where they literally went from completely engaged to like banging their head on a wall and completely avoid. And they solve these problems systematically, you know, doing cleanses and detoxing, cleansing and detoxing, and then just putting in these high nutritional foods. And we actually managed to cure these autistic children that, like, you know, the
Yes.
medical board would say there's no fucking way. Just like when JC was talking about the schizophrenia and Jerry's work, how he's actually reversing schizophrenia, which is meant to be impossible. And so we start to look at how powerful it is to put our attention nowadays onto getting our gut bacteria in a healthy place. And before that, cleansing out all the heavy metals and parasites. And I don't even know how long this sort of, if this is something you have to do like over and over and over again for a while. I'm not sure even that. I guess we'll just be experimenting as we go.
Probably every few months, I would think, every 3 months or so for a year, you would probably be good because, you know, as we know, like you might get rid of them all, but there might be eggs left and all this kind of stuff. So, but you know, it's all very gross. But you know, we've freed our minds, and now it's time to free our bodies.
Oh, through the bum hole. So the disappointing part about the farm is that we've just got a dunny, so we can actually see what's coming out of us unless we make this great effort to, like, you know, find a special toilet bucket that we can
I'm
just
not
like.
filming
I
it, that's for
swear,
sure.
guys, I'm in, man. If something amazing comes out of me, I will show you all about it. I will like. I'm totally into showing casing the sort of parasites. I heard stories
Man,
about people who had like was it a rope worm? So like a meter long ropeworm in your system. Now,
that's
oh
so
my God.
gross. Yeah,
Honestly,
man.
if something like that,
Daydreamers, you've got some heavy competition here,
that's
buddy.
right. Mate, I'm happy to pull it out and just hang it up and go, check out this stuff, man.
Yeah, well,
Because,
there you go.
well, I was going to
But
say, if we could be this liberated consciously at this level and still be full of parasites, imagine how amazing and buoyant we'll be with no parasites in our
oh,
brain.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And we probably all saw that clip of the praying mantis, I think it was, with a parasite coming out of its
No. What is
butthole.
this
Oh, you haven't
mysterious
seen
clip?
it. This
Ooh,
parasite was almost as big as the praying mantis. It was like
my God,
literally,
show me.
it was literally like, what? Where did it fit? How could that thing be alive with that in it?
Wow.
It was,
Isn't it just a shell? Wouldn't the wouldn't the
no, it
I
was
would
alive. It was alive.
wow. But was it alive? Or was it just having the parasite was just moving its shell
No,
almost?
they pulled, yeah, well, this is the thing. Who knows, right? Yeah. Was it
Yeah.
was it a parasite in praying mantis clothing?
So in summary,
That's
probably we can say we can probably say that most of the world's mental health issues come from a gut flora bacteria that is non-existent, that's been completely wiped out, and comes from parasitic beings and entities and energies and thought forms and signals and frequencies that are feeding of us literally. Ooh, so both of those things need to be resolved, people. We have to clean our bums out and our stomach out and our blood out.
yeah, man. Get the shit out of here.
Look, I'm an Aussie. I am down with poo talk. I'm all right with it. I'm quite interested. I always find it. I'm one of those people that look. I'll go and check out what's going on down there.
You're just a shit talker, Cal.
Yeah, I'm a shit talker. Look, even behind me, appropriately, like is the dunny. I'm going to just take it off the Zoom now, just so you can see
All
how.
right, here we go.
How
We will reveal where we really are. That's right. We're
look,
outside.
that's the dunny. And I love it. And look, that's the view out of the dunny. And then I think I've got some pigs behind me.
Yeah,
We're
man.
just like, this is like Poo Central where I'm like on the property.
Man. I'm in the what? The tack room.
Mate. Mate.
Working.
The old tack room.
Oh, no, that's not the right one. Oh, I don't know how to turn my camera. How do I do that? But yes, we are
So,
on the farm.
so. All right. Is everyone up? Is everyone with us? Have we got a team parasite cleanse going on through the Tartarian community? Oh, yes. Very nice there, Campbell. I built
Very
that.
nice.
I built that.
Curly built this. He
Freaking
did.
mate,
He did.
look how strange it is. I
Got
fucked
a
up the roof,
horsey-
though. I fucked up the roof.
horsey thing.
Yes,
The horse-
many mistakes made by, the apprentice over here, but it stands, and that's exciting. All
Yeah,
right,
man.
so
Oh,
we're going to do so by Melbourne, Campbell. That's like 3 months away. You and I will have cleansed our parasites, and we will have realigned our gut flora and fauna, and we're going to do our blood analysis to see before and after, and we are going to employ an independent, not working for the government individual who will take our DNA samples. So that's a lot. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, the microplasma, the micro nitty gritty of Tartaria. We're getting into the do you remember that podcast which we called No Farts, All Art? Because we were like, how long a minute? Where's all the toilets? Where's the bathrooms? They don't exist. What's with all the stinky sewage everywhere? And
all farts and no tarts.
yeah, that's right. Like literally covered in beautiful art, but no farts. But here we go. We keep it real, and we're bringing in the farts. We're bringing in the poo, the parasites, and
They do say if you want the answers, go inside. Know yourself.
That's right. You are going to get to know Campbell and I in minute
inside and out
detail as we report back on this exploration into the parasitic life forms that struggle to survive our high frequency beaming consciousnesses.
Yeah, we're just helping them. They want to get out.
Yeah, exactly. We just need to give them a little gateway, because they're not thriving in there. They're not surviving. They don't like the sound of our voice. They don't like the music we listen to. They don't like our herbal toothpaste, and they don't like our organic apples. They're starving to death.
Basically us in a city, in the system, in the job,
right.
40 hours a week. That's what they feel like.
I know, literally, this is an act of humanitarianism, getting rid of our parasites right now. Exactly. Giving them a helping hand. So I'm pumped, man. I'm excited. In.
We are doing it.
So we should start with a blood analysis so we know where we currently stand. And I know they'll say, you're full of parasites. You're full to the brim. Do you remember that animation? I don't know if you ever saw it, called Nightmare Before Christmas. It was a Tim Burton
I think I saw it.
And there was the Oogie Boogie Man, and the Oogie Boogie Man was just it was a sack. It was a farm sack full of bugs. And the Oogie Boogie Man would just walk with the bugs, man.
Like centipedes and stuff. Yeah.
So I'm having one of those moments across the whole entire human race. I'm just like, bugs everywhere. Bugs everywhere. We're just walking stacks of bugs.
Bugs, man. Of course, what do we call bugs? The other, meaning is, something that sits there and listens to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Turns it into you and stuff,
That's
right?
Ooh.
Bug, like the Matrix, right? When Neo gets the bug put inside him, and it's a prawn.
That's right. A shrimp.
A shrimp.
Oh, it's true. They all look like seafood. Oh. And I think, like if you got a tarantula, like the indigenous do, and they cook them over the fire, and then they open up, it's got that white sweet meat in it. Yep. That's right. That's seafood right there. Anyway. Oh. So when they talk about us eating bugs, is it like the climate change answer of climate change? Like, man, too late.
We've been doing it for years, man.
We've already been eating them, and we already are them. We're bugged, man.
We're bugs, and bugs, multiply very quickly. So it's time to get the bugs out.
All right. Well, what a gross show, Campbell.
We
Excellent.
don't want to be buggered.
Oh, I had a bugger dream last night. How weird's that? I had a demonic dream last night. I never
Yeah.
friggin' dream like this. And as in, I don't have demonic dreams very often, but yes, Campbell, I had a demonic dream and it actually freaked me out a bit. And that was weird. I've never had one like that before. So don't know why I just mentioned that.
Oh,
Must
the
be
bugs.
connected.
It's, the
It's
bugs. They're trying to
connected.
get out, man.
See,
They're trying
yeah,
to
it's
get out.
connected. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought it up. See what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like,
Listen,
all
to
right,
Cam-
so that's a gross show. I love it. Very Australian of us. Very and P.S. Imagine the sort of parasites are on Australian barbecue meat. Ooh, and also the nuts you eat at a bar. Anything free,
Oh,
any free food.
yeah, man. Finger foods. People going to the toilet, coming back out. Dry hands.
Whoa.
Oh.
All right, enough of this grossness. All right, I think that'll do for the day. I think we'll leave it
think so.
there.
If you're still with us and we haven't grossed you out enough, thank you for staying with us.
Yeah, I think this has been a very meaningful discussion that we all have to hear and get our heads around. The next phase of the game to return to country, we got to clean out our insides. We got to get rid of the parasites, the heavy metals. We got to get all our systems stabilized again. It's time, people. It's time.
The truth will free you, but
Yes.
first it'll gross you out.
Yes.
So there we go. Melbourne coming up. Link below. What's the date? July the 8th. Is that correct?
Mate,
Mm.
July the 8th, it's going to be a fucking blast. We are going to sell out for sure, probably 2 times over. This is going to be epic. It's where we started. It's amazing venue and the vibe is super high and it is going to be freaking excellent. You don't want to miss it, guys. If you're in Melbourne or if you want to fly in, this is the event. You're going to be right to fly in, get a hotel and get to the venue really easily. No hassle at all.
Indeed. So leave us a comment, give us a like, share this around, all that kind of good stuff that we keep forgetting to say. Tell all your friends that we're awesome and to watch our podcast and buy your tickets to Melbourne and we'll see you there.
And clean your poo, man. Just clean it up. Just get it sorted. It's time.
Man,
it's the way. It's the path of the master. Bye, everyone. Have a great week. Speak soon.
Stay awesome.
You know those suits and ties, they got no love for what's alive. It's up to you, it's up to me, my human family. The time has come, my friends, to steer your will until it bends. Fill your heart until it breaks. And breathe for goodness sakes, and let it break down. Let it crumble to the ground. Can't stop the love rising within. Our realm could be flowing with joy, and the people will wake and yearn to be free, and the system will break. What makes you feel alive? All those dreams you kept inside. Well, that little voice inside your head, you turn to it instead. You're watching the divide, you watch the conquering of minds, the broadcasting of spells to make you feel unwell, to make you break down. But not this time around. You can't stop the love rising within. Our realm could be flowing with joy, and the people will wake and yearn to be free, and the system will break. and the people will wake, and you to be free, and the system will break.